What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Knights of the Nerds Table. For whatever reason as of late, I've been creating content involving those with super speed. But today I'm switching it up, from Sega's Blue Blur to DC's Scarlet Speedster, The Flash.
My name is Barry Allen, and I am the fastest man alive.
This, ladies and gents, is a Season 8 recap for CW's Flash starring Grant Gustin, so you can be ready to go when the final season drops on February the 8th. After 9 seasons, multiple crossovers, villains, and doppelgangers, CW's Flash is finally coming to an end. The show first aired in 2014 as a spin-off of the already popular Arrow CW show, starring Stephen Amell. Although The Flash was not the first DC CW show, it is definitely the most popular and the longest running. The DCEU Flash, Ezra Miller, was cast as of 2014, the same year the show aired. And while the Flash movie has gone through 3 different directors, and Ezra Miller has gone on a little bit of a crime spree,
Break the rule, Barry. You've got to do it now.
this has been the only live-action Flash to keep DC fans occupied. So where did we last leave Flash and his merry band of meta-fighters? Let's go back to Season 8 to find out. Now in Season 8 we begin with the 5-episode story arc entitled Armageddon. In Armageddon, a time traveler from the future named Despero comes to kill the Flash. He claims that the Flash will lead to the destruction of the world, an event called Armageddon. He prophesies that the Flash will go insane and destroy everything and everyone he loves within the next 24 hours. And in a day, everything that Barry loves is taken from him. He is suspended from his job and blacks out while fighting a mind-controlling villain and then attacks his friends. And once he finally feels he has a handle on everything, the group drops on Alan that Joe West is dead and has been dead for 6 months. The Flash is shocked and has no recollection of Joe passing. Barry goes to his friend Black Lightning and orders him to take away his power so he doesn't hurt anyone else, but Lightning refuses, saying that the world needs Barry as its hero. Searching for more answers, Barry then travels to the future. That's where he discovers that it was the Reverse Flash, Ebort Thawne, all along. Reverse Flash has made a reverse Flash point and was rewriting the timeline, putting himself as the Flash and even marrying Iris. In this timeline, Barry is actually the Reverse Flash and his friends are trying to stop him from destroying the world. After fighting his friends, Barry teams up with Damian Dark, who is alive in this world, to put the timeline back to where it was before the clock strikes 12 and the changes are permanent. While speeding away to correct the timeline, Barry does leave havoc in his wake, creating the events of Armageddon. He barely succeeds in restoring the timeline and his life is saved. As is usually the case, no one else remembers the details of this alternate timeline. Ebort Thawne does return in present times to ask Barry and the team to save him from being erased from the present timeline. After much anguish, the team decides to save Thawne by removing his speed and imprisoning him forever at Argus. We move on from the present to the future in 2049, where Barry and Iris's children have returned to their timeline after a short trip to our day back in the Season 7 finale. Nora and Bart realize that their timeline is off due to their time meddling, and naturally they try to go back to the past before their father was the Flash to fix this. After thinking they fixed their mistake, they return to their time only to find that things are still not back to normal. Thankfully, their Uncle Jay lets them know that time tampering is a family trait, and won't prevent either of them from being a great addition to the Flash family. Back in present times, 2022, a lot is going on with the team. Iris continues to struggle with a time sickness, something she's been dealing with since last season. It causes her to float in and out of the present, and it threatens to throw her into nothingness forever. Her professional duties continue to expand as well, and she is mentoring Allegra and leading the team of snippy reporters under her. This season does introduce some pretty important character development on Allegra's part. She's learning on how to be a leader at CCC, finding her spot on Team Flash, and keeping the will they or won't they dance between her and Chester pretty fresh. Chester is mostly pretty low-key this season. Now there is some character development in regards to his relationship with his father, but for the most part he is used more as comic relief, bringing his love for Dungeons and Dragons to the crew, and obviously flaming the fairly obvious relationship he and Allegra are forming. One of the more interesting character developments this season involves Caitlin Snow and her alter ego, Frost. As of last season, Caitlin and Frost became their own separate entities instead of sharing a body as they did previously. Their bond is deeper in some ways, but Caitlin is still learning how to respect Frost's independence, especially when it comes to dating meta villains. But seeing Frost become more independent does make Caitlin realize that she needs to move on too, and she begins dating. Now later in the season, the gang runs into a meta-human that is burning people alive and feeding off the grief of their victims. Caitlin mistakenly believes that this smoky villain is her long-lost husband Ronnie, who died as the superhero Firestorm some 8 years before. She attempts to bring Ronnie back with downright disastrous results. The creature is actually Deathstorm, who was created in the wake of her husband's death. Killer Frost ends up making the ultimate sacrifice to stop this creature's rampage on Central City, and her death sent her sister Caitlin and the team into a wave of depression. Caitlin does unsuccessfully attempt to bring Frost back, but Barry confronts her and destroys her research on purpose so as to make her move on. Caitlin then decides to take some time off from Team Flash, hoping to heal these very fresh wounds. Meanwhile, Iris's time sickness gets worse and worse, and she disappears into the Still Force. Barry tries to go after her into the Still Force with Dion, the Still Force avatar. He is seemingly betrayed by Dion and left to die in the Still Force. Thankfully, his future daughter Nora comes back from the future to help pull her father out of the Still Force. Iris is still lost in the Force, but she eventually finds herself in the year 2049 with her children. Nora attempts to move Iris back into her own time, but the negative energy from the Still Force still holds Iris back, preventing Nora from returning her. Back in the present, Team Flash has encountered a new speedster, Dr. Mina Dahan, who goes by Fast Track. She's not a natural speedster, but rather has conjured up scientifically the negative speed force to give her temporary speed. Now, to Barry's horror, her assistant is Ebert Thawne, but he has his old face, rather than the Wells face. He claims he has some type of amnesia and doesn't remember his villainous past. According to this new Thawne, he loves Dr. Dahan and is dedicated to helping her improve her speed. This all leads up to the finale, the two-part episode called Negative. Barry and the team are finally presenting us with a showdown against the negative forces, the negative strength force, negative still force, and the negative sage force. Dion, the negative still force, goes to Argus and murders Ebert Thawne in Wells' body. Barry tries to face him with Fast Track and a negative speed force energize Ebert Thawne and the rest of the Flash team. But when Barry flings lightning at the negative forces, the negative still force transports Iris in the way of the lightning, killing her before Barry's eyes. Ebert Thawne is then revealed to be the Wells version and fully aware of his hate of Barry. Barry almost kills him on the spot, but Nora and Bart show up and convince him not to kill Thawne. Iris is thankfully not actually dead and is saved by the Time Stone when Damien Darhk helps her resurrect herself. Jay Garrick reunites her with Barry, and with the help from the forces, he reverses a powerful attack from Thawne back to him, destroying him and removing him from the timeline. After the universe resets, Iris is cured of her time sickness and the speedsters return to their respective times. Right before the season ends, we return to Caitlin Snow's experiment to bring Frost back, and we do get a little bit of a tease that Frost may actually return in the new season. And there we are, we're all caught up. So, what can we expect of Season 9? This isn't just the conclusion of Flash after all, but the conclusion of the Arrowverse, since it was revealed that Superman and Lois is officially set in another world. Season 9 will be composed of 13 45-minute episodes. We're getting most of the principal cast back, such as Candace Payton, Danielle Panabaker, Danielle Nicolette, Kayla Compton, and Brandon McKnight. John Corr was also promoted to a series regular from his recurring status in the previous 2 seasons. It has already been announced that Stephen Amell's Green Arrow will be making one last return to this universe. I'm excited to see if it's a classic CW doppelganger, or is it the Arthur Queen that we know and love. I would also expect Carlos Valdez to return as Cisco Ramon in some capacity to give the show a send-off. We will probably see other fan favorites such as members of Legends of Tomorrow like Leonard Snart or the Atom. Maybe even some Batwoman, and I could see us doing a Melissa Benoist Supergirl appearance as well. And despite him being supposedly dead, I would expect some type of Tom Cavanaugh sighting as well, or Ebert Thawne. Storyline wise, the details are hush-hush. The official synopsis is the following. 1 week after the Reverse Flash was defeated, Barry and Iris are still reconnecting. But when the deadly group of rogues descend on Central City led by a powerful new threat, the Flash and his team must once again defy impossible odds to save the day. A deadly new adversary rises to challenge Barry Allen's heroic legacy, and in their greatest battle yet, Barry and Team Flash will be pushed to their limits in order to save Central City one last time. I guess we will have to wait until February 8th this year to find out more and take one last look at Team Flash and the Arrowverse. Regardless of how this show ends, its legacy will be felt. There are so many legendary moments in this series, and with the mainline DCEU always floundering in the background, the Arrowverse has kind of held DC fans over for the time being. Grant Gustin and Team Flash have been a shining light for DC for all these years. Sure, some fans think that universe is too cheesy and leans way too much into the emotional drama that the CW channel is known for, but it has introduced these characters that we have loved from the comics to a larger audience and helped everyone understand the turmoil of Barry Allen. On top of it all, Grant Gustin is the only Flash to have met John Wesley Shipp's Flash and Ezra Miller's Flash, creating a multiverse story years before No Way Home came out. Grant's our Flash. It's our boy. I can't wait to see how this chapter for him ends. Thanks for watching Knights of the Nerds Table. How do you feel about this being the final season for Team Flash and the Arrowverse? Comment below with your favorite Team Flash moment, and I can't wait to talk with you guys later about how this season turns out. Make sure to like and subscribe to our channel for future content, and night out. Have a good one.